Whew, this is going to be a hard video to film. Okay, everyone, we are moving. We are moving our family of 7, 10 hours away to an island. And this video is going to talk to you about why, how, when, and just update you on the entire thing. So let's jump into it. Okay, so our family is currently living in Ontario, Canada. We are actually living in the most southern point of Ontario, known as Windsor. Whew! So we have been living in Windsor for about 7 years now. I think, yeah, 7 years almost. And although it was a big choice choosing to come here in the first place, actually, okay, no. We need to rewind. Me and my husband are from an island known as Manitoulin Island, and it is the largest freshwater island in the world. It is a beautiful place. It is, yeah, there's just so many natural attractions there. It's gorgeous, and that's where we grew up. So I can tell you that we definitely took it for granted since we grew up there. And my husband and I, we were high school sweethearts. We met at high school on Manitoulin Island, and we got married when we were pretty young. I was 19 and he was 20, and we immediately moved off island because my husband was already going to university a couple hours away from the island, and so that's where we lived, in that city. And then when he graduated university, we decided to move to Windsor, where we currently live. And Windsor is 10 hours away from Manitoulin Island, where our parents are and where we're from. And although I wouldn't repeat that choice if I was there again, it certainly turned out well. We were just ready for adventure at that time in our lives. We were ready to try something new, to feel like we were spreading our wings a bit. And we moved here and we had 0 friends. We were living in a tiny apartment, and we even sold our car because we thought, not even so much for financial considerations, we just thought it would be cool to live a car-free lifestyle. And I was pregnant with our second at that time. So we were living in a tiny apartment downtown of a city that we'd never been to before, and we didn't know anyone in, and we didn't have a car. But I can tell you that from there, it worked out amazingly. I mean, we made really, really good friends. We started to make really good friends, like better friends than I've ever had in a way. Friends that felt like family. Maybe it's because we didn't have family here, and so the friends we made really started to take root in our hearts as if they were family. And eventually we moved out of our tiny little apartment into this beautiful house. This is an 100-year-old home. It's in a historic area of Windsor known as Walkerville, which was actually founded by Hiram Walker, who started Canadian Club Whiskey. And he built this town to fill employees at his brewery, basically. But it's a beautiful, well laid out place. Just so much good history here. You can just feel the history. And if you know me, you'll know that I love history. There's a beautiful mansion nearby where Hiram Walker's son and his wife lived that's now been turned a city park. And basically, we've made a great life here. We've made wonderful friends. We have a great church. Even though we live in the city, we have found ways to get our little doses of nature in, such as going to Point Pelee, which is the most southern tip of Canada, and it's a beautiful beachy area, and going for hikes in a nearby provincial park. But, of course, there's going to be a but, right? It's hard being so far from family. And as we've gotten somewhat older and our kids are getting older, and now we have 5 kids, it has become harder to be so far from family. I mean, we do go for visits once or twice a year, at least. And then at the end of every visit, it was just so hard. Our kids were heartbroken, and Paul and I would just be feeling like, why do we live so far away from them? Especially because we're not here for work or anything. Like, we're here because we moved here a while ago and we've settled in. Both of us work remotely, so technically we can work anywhere. But yeah, it was hard. And then there's also the aspect of starting to crave more of a natural outdoorsy lifestyle, and to crave having more outdoor space for our family and for our boys, for them to just be able to spend most of the day outside and just be able to run free and not be having to be like hushed by me all the time because we don't want to bother the neighbors, because I have 4 boys. You can imagine, like, they are pretty loud. They're very rambunctious. And I just really want them to be able to have the kind of upbringing I had, close to nature, where they have lots of space to just run around outside, walk in bare feet on the grass, jump in lakes in the summer, walk in the forest. I have so many good memories as a hormonal, angsty teenager of just going out for walks into the middle of the forest and sitting under a tree for an hour until I felt better about whatever I was upset about. And yeah, I want that. Like, even though I love the life we've created here in Windsor and I adore the friends we've made and they do feel like family, there's always been a part of me that never felt at home here. I don't know why. Like, maybe that's just my personality. Maybe it's because I was brought up in the exact same home in this beautiful island my whole life until I got married and moved out. I've always still felt a connection there. And there's just been this growing sense lately, for the past couple of years, I'd say, of missing the feeling of having a history with a place. If you've ever moved far away, you might know what I mean, but it's hard to explain, but just like this sense of not having roots in a place. So even though I do have this community of friends, sometimes life just feels a little bit 2D, a little bit flat. And I think it's because there's no family around and I don't have a sense of history. I don't have a sense of roots here, of a past here. I walk around the street and barely anyone knows me. I mean, I do have some friends on the street who are wonderful friends, and I love them and I'll miss them, but I grew up in a very small town. So first of all, everyone knew each other there anyways, and also because I have all those years spent there, people know our parents, people know us because they know our parents. And sometimes I've just missed that sense of community where people either know you or they know of you, and you're not just like a strange face in the crowd, so to speak. So anyway, after my 5th baby was born a couple months ago, it basically like brought all of these feelings even more to the surface of wanting to be close to family. And I could see my little daughter as an older girl jumping in lakes, running around on beaches, running around outside. And I could almost feel that that was the kind of life she was born to have. And it was just this weird sense of kind of being caught between 2 different realities in a way. And so my parents came to visit after she was born. They kept my older boys for a week with them in an Airbnb, which was lovely. And we talked with them then about how we sort of do want to move to Manitoulin. But it was still a very theoretical discussion. It wasn't anything that we were planning on imminently, especially since I just had a baby and our finances didn't seem like they were in a place to like be able to buy land and build something like we thought we might have to do, since there's not a lot of real estate available, especially for when you have something specific in mind. Because what we would want ideally is, first of all, a house that's big enough for all of us. It doesn't have to be massive, of course, but also to be more out in the country, because there are towns on Manitoulin, and what we really wanted was to just have some land and some space. That's why we would move out of Windsor if we were to do so. So yeah, now time passed, a month or 2 went by, and then I phoned up my parents one day. My dad said, "Hey, we were just talking about you and your property." And I said, "What? What property?" And he said that a property near their home, near the home that I grew up in, recently came up for sale. And it had a fairly new house on it. It had tons of acreage. And best of all, it has a massive studio building on it. And as soon as I heard this, I was intrigued because it sounded like the perfect property for us. It's near my family. It has a nice newish house with enough space for us. It has lots of land, lots of outdoor space, and it's like nice land. There's fields and forests. And then it had this massive studio building, which is basically like just what the doctor ordered for our life, for my YouTube, for our kids' homeschooling, for me and my creating stuff, sewing, shoemaking, even hat making, who knows, like just having that amount of space to branch out and work on stuff. It seemed like it was the dream property. It was a really hard decision to make. Like, should we try to get this property? And our family, my grandparents offered to help us out financially to be able to get this property and have a private family mortgage with them, which is amazing. And I feel very, very privileged that it was a possibility. Now, mind you, if you're hearing that this land had tons of acres, you might think it was massively priced. It actually wasn't, because real estate on Manitoulin is fairly slow. It's definitely a buyer's market. And basically we went through kind of a couple of weeks of like a lot of deliberation, a lot of emotions, because even just thinking about leaving the life we've made here and the friends we made here felt really emotional. But eventually we decided to put an offer on the property, and through a few days of backing and forthing and thinking about it more, we ended up getting the property for significantly under the asking price too. And it's been this roller coaster ever since then. So yeah, we're moving. And we're going to be moving in mid-July actually now. At first we were thinking of a further out move-out date, but as we've started packing up and getting the house ready, I realized that it's going to go pretty quick, and I feel like it would be good to not be in this transition period for too long. The kids feel it. Obviously, Paul and I feel it. It's stressful. The kids' behavior has been a little crazy lately, because I know it's because they can feel the stress from Paul and I about this whole thing. So yeah, anyways, we're very excited. We feel very blessed to have this property and this new life. But right now we're just in the thick of getting ready to move, packing things up, and feeling all of the emotions of leaving. It feels like grieving a loved one, honestly. And there's a part of me where I almost feel guilty saying that, because I feel so like blessed to have this opportunity. So why am I sad about leaving? So we're just getting our house. Currently, I'm focusing on trying to fix up this house a little bit because, as I said, we have 4 boys. It's had a lot of wear and tear. The walls have some drawings on them. There's been holes made in the boys' room that the patching needed to be fixed up. And the kitchen and the bathroom are definitely not ideal. But we've basically decided we're just going to kind of do our best, but not overly stress about renovations, because we have enough on our plate and it's not worth the extra stress of trying to renovate at this point. But anyway, so we're getting the house ready. I am going through the house and purging anything and everything that we don't need, because I really want this move to be like a fresh start for us, and getting rid of junk that we don't need and being more organized. And hopefully the boys will learn more to keep the walls cleaner in our new place. And yeah, we're obviously very excited to be closer to family. It's going to feel like a whole new world. Like, I can't even imagine it, because my entire life as a parent, the past 9 years, I've lived away from family. So that's probably partly why I'm so sad, because right now all I can feel is just the sad side of leaving. And I can't even yet imagine what it's going to be like being so close to family, even though I know, like, yeah, it's going to have a lot of benefits. And also, most of all, why are we making this move? I guess I should say that, because so far all you've seen from me is sadness. But a big part of it is our kids. I don't believe in just like fully making decisions for our children if it's something that we don't want to do ourselves. But a big part of it is my children. I want them to have more space to run around, to be in nature. And even though there's going to be cons of like leaving our wonderful church that we have right now, for example, and friends we have, there's obviously going to be cons to that. I believe that, like, obviously the decision was made because we believe that the pros of being closer to nature, being more outdoorsy, being able to do homesteading will outweigh that. I hope. I mean, it's comparing apples to oranges. And of course, we're still going to keep up our relationships. I would love for my friends to visit us on our property, and we're definitely going to come back here for visits. So it's not the end of the world. I'm a postpartum hormonal mother, and we're doing this huge move. That's another side of it that makes me feel emotional, is I feel like, what am I doing to myself? Like, I chose this. Why on earth did I choose to do this massive move when I have a young baby? But I mean, I know why I'm doing it. It's because our dream property came up for sale, and it's not like it's just going to be sitting there for 2 years until we're ready. And yeah, our dream property came up for sale, and I'm definitely having faith that this is all part of the plan for our family, even if we can't fully see the end result right now. I'm just having faith that this is what's best for our family. I do have an overall sense of peace about this choice, of course, otherwise I wouldn't be doing it. And yeah, so that's the plan. So I'll be keeping you guys updated on this channel. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I decided to make this channel, because I had been sort of craving to make a lifestyle channel, and this just seemed like the perfect time because we can document the entire process of moving and setting up our new life on what's basically a homestead property. I would love to have chickens. I would love to have a cow someday. Now there is an old barn on the property, but it's probably too run down to be repaired at this point, so we'd have to build a new barn of some sort to be able to have a cow, but I would love to have a cow. I'm definitely gonna have some chickens. I'm really excited, and I think it's gonna be wonderful material for this channel for sharing with you all, because we're gonna be going on this adventure ourselves and learning so much. And I'm super excited. I'm going to be filming a moving vlog documenting the entire moving process, packing up, traveling there, getting there. And of course, there's going to be lots more material for other videos to do with our new country lifestyle. So that will be lots of fun. Thank you so much for listening to my emotional ramble video today. Thank you so much for subscribing to this channel. I've just been blown away by how many of you have subscribed just overnight for me announcing this new channel. And all of your beautiful, wonderful comments have just brought so much love and joy to my heart. It's really been an encouragement. So thank you so much, and stay tuned for future videos from my real life.